When you're looking at this operationally, what are certain things, and I know this is very contextual, so you could share us maybe a story or an example of when you acquire a company, you have that conversation, everything's good, then that's where the work really starts. Now let's see how we can make this an efficient business and really start, growing that. What are the certain steps or the methodology that you walk the team through, the company through to ensure that everybody's on the same page and saying, okay, this is where we're going to start. And this is what our 18-month, 24-month goal looks like in regards to kind of cadence.
So we have a methodology and we have a playbook. The methodology is 4 things and the playbook's 4 things. The methodology, number 1, keep your loyal customers. Don't lose your loyal customers. Keep the book of business. Number 2, find new customers. Go out and find new customers that need your product or service. Number 3, get them to spend as much as humanly possible, right? Maximize their spend. Number 4 is seek efficiencies, not savings, efficiencies. Savings, many times, you're reducing or you're sacrificing service, right? Efficiencies is obviously keeping the same service, but having the inputs be different for the same or better output, okay? So those are the 4. What you typically see when a new buyer comes in is it flips, right? It totally flips. Number 1 is look for efficiencies, or better yet, look for savings. Like, where can we cut? To use a hotel example, if you buy a hotel, you're like, they're using thick towels, go to skinnier towels. They're going big bouquets, go smaller bouquets. They have big bar soaps, go to skinnier soaps, right? That's savings. Efficiency says, how do we get people to spend more money? Catering's lower. How can we have more catering? By letting people know our offering's better, or catering's going down. Is it because right now catering's taking too long because they're getting stuck on elevators? How can we actually add another elevator? You look for efficiencies to drive outputs, right? And then they finally say, how can we charge more prices? And then they say, how can we actually look for new customers? Oh, and we have existing customers. So we say, keep them, look for new ones, get them to spend as much, and look for efficiencies. And then the playbook that we operate is build a high-performance leadership team. So these small to mid-sized companies are very, very understaffed. So for the most part, some are overstaffed, but for the most part, they're understaffed. You see the CEO or president wear a lot of different hats. So sometimes it's like, hey, Mr. President, Mr. CEO, we need you focused on the vision and the strategy and the budget and the culture. We don't need you focused on project management. We don't need you focused on answering all the sales calls. So right now in our janitorial business, we're hiring our first ever in 40, 50 years the company's been around, sales leader. They've never had a salesperson. They've never had a sales leader. They only answer the phones. They're the number 1 commercial janitorial company in Eastern Tennessee, based in Knoxville. And they've never had a salesperson, Christian. It's just word of mouth. So the CEO answers the call and says, sure, we could bid for UT Knoxville, or sure, we could bid for this hospital system. Drives there, bids on it, then goes back and answers the complaint calls. They're a great business, but shouldn't we hire a high performance leadership team? Shouldn't we hire a head of training for the 400 cleaners that we have, right? So that's number 1, build a high performance leadership team. Number 2 is set your charter, strategy, and budget. So what's your charter? What's your vision? What's your mission? What's your values? What's your annual budget? And what's the strategy that you're executing on this year? Number 3, empowerment and accountability. So that's the cadence we have. Every 2 weeks, we have a call with our CEOs. Every month, we have a monthly review. Every quarter, we have a quarterly board meeting. Every year, we have an annual retreat with them, right? So that's the accountability and empowerment. And then number 4 is we support critical processes and systems. So these are the things that say, hey, we need a new ERP. We don't even know what ERP stands for. We don't know where to look for one. We don't know how to install it. We're a small to mid-sized company. Garden City, you guys are fancy. Can you help us out, right? So that's our methodology, and that's our playbook.